Got a question for you. Got a question for you. Does my grey hair, and it is grey, grey hair, define me as invisible online? Now, there's a lot of people with grey hair or feeling a little bit older. And I've been reading some articles and some stuff about this feeling invisible online as a person of a certain age. So whether we want to admit it or not, feeling invisible online is real to some people. And it's predominantly, as I said, in women of a certain age, even more so. So like an invisible woman, for example, might be an actor who is no longer offered roles. We see some of the actors and actresses that once they get to a certain age, it's like they're not able to get any of those big roles anymore. You also, as women, again, in particular, not exclusively, but in particular, in my experience, women, once we get to that kind of 50-something-year-old woman, who quite often can't even land a job interview. Some of the scary statistics are as well that women in their 50s are the highest percentage of people that are homeless, which is quite sad to hear. But according to an article that I read in The Atlantic, it is an online online magazine information. So they define it as a woman who no longer finds that she's maybe attractive to the male gaze, or, that you're no longer vibrant and young, or the youth has faded and childbearing years are behind her, and that social value has been diminished. I hope I pronounced this right, and I'm actually going to read it because there's a quote from this novelist and screenwriter called, it's Ayelet, Ayelet, I believe is the pronunciation, Waldman. And she said something as she was being interviewed that really resonated with me and so many other women that I know as well. And I'm just going to tell you the quote and then just unpack it a little bit. And you'll know by the first line and why it resonated with me, because she said, I have a big personality and I have a certain level of professional competence. And I'm used to being taken seriously professionally. And when she reached a certain age, she says, and suddenly it's like it all vanished from the room. And I had to yell so much louder to be seen. Now, that really resonated with me because that's how women can feel, and women of a certain age. And why do we even do of a certain age? Like, why is that a thing that we call it with a name on it, that of a certain age? And particularly what I found is coming into business. So quite often you find women, maybe their kids have grown, maybe they've been in a career for many years. And they get to that certain between 40 and 50 when they start going, well, maybe I want something else. And that's quite often a time that women go into business as well, because they've done so much. I mean, they've made so many mistakes. They have found out what works and what doesn't. They have a lot of wisdom. And unfortunately, we get to that stage and this invisibility keeps coming up as well. So, I was unpacking that, like, a big personality and having fun and being able to go out there and do stuff. And suddenly you feel the same person, but people are completely ignoring you because you are that invisible. In my opinion, I'm only just coming into my prime, and, I'm well past the beginning of that certain age. Like, I started getting some gray hair many years ago, and I tried to avoid it. I tried using hair colors, and I am naturally very dark brown hair. So of course, a little bit of gray, it was starting to look like it was almost white. And eventually I decided to bite the bullet and let it go out. But as I did notice the difference into how other people treated me as well. So to me, I'm still the same person, except I have a lot more wisdom and experience now. And if our wrinkles, our gray hair and perceived difference work against us in this time, and especially if you have decided to venture into growing your own business, and you know, we need to find a way to stand out for the value that we offer, to stand out for the wisdom that we have, and to stand out as the person that has the solution for the problems for the people that you know you can help the most. Of course, we can't help everybody. But what I mean is, if you are in business, you've gone into business because you have a solution to somebody's problem, be it a product or a service. So we need to be able to stand out. And if we have to work a little bit harder or cleverer to stand out, how do we do that? For me, that's why I went down the rabbit hole, as I call it, of finding out about marketing and how can you stand out. And at first I found it quite hard, I'll be honest, because I wasn't really sure of this new way of this gray-haired person. How was she going to stand out? So the marketing needs to be done in a way that you stand out, and no matter if you have gray hair or you're of a certain age, for the value that you have to offer, for the solution that you have. It needs to help you be visible for the people who need your help the most. And after all, look, if nothing else, over the last few years, and those of you that have been hanging out with me for a while would know, death and loss has really given me the feeling of time waits for no one. I think the saying is actually time waits for no man, but let's say time waits for no one. And if you want to be visible online and really make a difference, remember, it's never, ever, ever, let me say that again, ever too late to be great. But we have to be seen. So being visible can be achieved when you're, really clear with your marketing, with your images, with your audio, with your movement. And if you know me at all, you'd know that I help people with videos. Why did I go into video? That's why. Because one of the big reasons I use video marketing is I don't even have to be on the video to communicate what my message is and the value I have in order to stand out. Once you have a really clear message, whether I have gray hair, whether I'm older, younger, or anything like that, it actually won't matter. And nor should it matter for the wisdom and the value that you have. So when you get that message that talks directly to the people you can help the most, then you will stand out too. Now, again, if you know me at all, you'll know I refuse to be invisible. I just refuse. Gray hair and all, I refuse to be invisible, because one of the biggest things that the passing of my beautiful sister Bernie taught me was, I do not want to die with my song still in me. And my question to you is, do you? Thanks for hanging out with me for today. If it's the thing, you don't want to die with your song still in you and you're struggling of how you can fit that in if you are growing a business, and you're struggling of how you can get that and become more visible online, just shoot me a private message, and let's see how we can get you motivated and get you going in that, because you don't have to be invisible either. For now, it's bye for me.